Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Colin, and this is Pet Sitter Confessional,
an open and honest discussion about life as a pet sitter.
Brought to you by Time to Pet and Pet Perennials. What does the word hospitality bring to mind? And how do we take concepts from the hospitality industry and apply it to the pet care industry? How does that change our views of customer service and public relations and meeting people's needs and how we shape our service packages? Kimberly Richmond spent many years in the hospitality industry, serving specialized weddings in far-flung venues across the world. She talks today about how she brings her signature hospitality to the pet care and what it means to be better at public relations and why it was so important for her to be connected with a cause in her community. Let's get started.
Hey, Colin. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Very excited to be speaking with you this morning. So as you mentioned, my name is Kimberly Richmond, and I live in Falls Church, Virginia. So we're about 15 minutes outside of DC. And I am the founder of a very, very recently launched business, Posh Pets. And we are a boutique dog walking and pet service company servicing pockets of Northern Virginia.
So you mentioned really kind of young and new business. Why did you start a pet care company in the middle of a global pandemic?
That is a great question. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are questioning my sanity on that one. And to be honest, it's been a really interesting road that's kind of led me, where I am today. Just kind of a quick snapshot at my background. So I was born and raised in Mexico City. I lived there till I was 18. My dad's Mexican, my mom is American. And I moved up to the US to go to college. I went to UMass Amherst and majored in hospitality. My mom's a travel writer. So from a very young age, I was fortunate enough that she would take my sister and I on trips around the world. And I kind of got to see the behind the scenes of the hotel world. And that's kind of what led me to fall in love with it. And, I knew that's something that I wanted to do. So when I graduated from college, I started a career with Hyatt Hotels. I was with them for 10 years. I did sales and marketing, and I represented their luxury properties all over the world. And basically what I was doing is I would promote these properties to corporations, associations to kind of, convince them to come have their meetings or their events at the properties. And then once they would book, I'd kind of turn it over to the convention services team. And they're the ones who sort of executed the events. And I sort of found myself wanting to stay involved. Like I didn't want to turn it over. I wanted to continue executing the events. And sort of right around this time, that I was having this realization, I was living in Boston at the time and I was engaged and I was planning on having a destination wedding in Mexico because of course, born and raised. And I wanted to get married down there and knew nothing about wedding planning. So I hired a wedding planner because I thought, that's the right thing to do. And pretty immediately, I realized that, the wedding planner I hired was kind of a nightmare and it was a disaster. So I fired her. Oh, wow. And I continued the planning of the wedding and I really enjoyed it. And so that was sort of, that desire that I had to plan events. I sort of realized that there was a niche market there, being that I'm bilingual and bicultural, living in the US, but planning a wedding abroad. I feel like there's really a need for this. I fired the fiance too. Unfortunately, the wedding never came to be, but a business idea was born. And I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, my father, my uncles, just on both sides of the family. So I decided, what? I think that there's an opportunity here. I think this is a business that I can start and really do something with. So in 2011, I quit my day job, as they say, and I launched a destination wedding planning company called Runaway Bride, kind of a play on words there. And we cater to the luxury market, planned weddings all over the world. It was a really great experience. And I'm honestly humbled by the success, that we saw early on. And we were working in destinations like Lake Como, Ireland, South America, Mexico. I mean, you name it. And we were booking weddings there. And While it sounds very glamorous to be traveling and staying at some of the top properties in the world and planning all these elaborate weddings, after a few years, it was exhausting. I got burnt out on the travel and the flight delays and the Bridezillas. And I really, missed being away from my friends and family, including my four-legged family members. I had 2 cats at the time, and they were getting older. And I was just finding myself like more stressed out with the job than anything else. And it kind of got to a point where it wasn't fun anymore. So I made the decision, it was like late 2018, early 2019, that, I was going to put the company up for sale. And I wanted to find the perfect person to take over. I didn't just, want to sell it to anyone. So I was taking my time. And while I was doing that, I wanted to do something kind of on the side here at home, make some money, just kind of do a 180. And I was looking through Indeed one day and I saw an ad to be a dog walker. And I was like, oh my God, like I love animals. I've had pets my whole entire life. This is something that I can get paid to do. So I applied and I got the job. And I started out as a dog walker, / pet sitter for a local company here in Falls Church. And the owner and I became really great friends. And, she asked me to do some management stuff. So I was, in addition to the pet care, I was doing marketing and sales and social media. And we just really clicked. And so I would say about 2 months into it, she asked, if I wanted to become her business partner. And we were in serious conversations about partnering. And I said, as soon as my business sells, like definitely let's do it. So we had, spoken to attorneys, we had kind of done all the paperwork and we were just waiting for my company to sell. So February 17th of this year, the company sold, signed on the dotted line, like everything was moving, in a great path for us to partner together. And then 2 weeks later, the world kind of shut down. The pandemic hit and we just kind of like froze in our tracks and decided that, it wasn't the best time for either of us to try to go into business together. Because of course, no one knew what was going to happen. Businesses were being affected left and right, especially the pet care business. So we kind of kept the status quo and, I continued working for her for the next several months, both sort of running the company and helping with the pet care component of it. And I thought I could be happy with the status quo, and from like a security angle and what would have been smart, probably would have been smart just to, keep the job. But again, coming from that long line of entrepreneurs, I really just couldn't kind of quiet that itch or that desire to start my own company. I was fully aware that business was down. I saw the number of dog walks drop and pet sittings drop. And I realized that it was going to be a long ramp up period. And I was very honest and transparent with her. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. And she was like, are you sure? I think she's one of the people that thought I was completely crazy. And I said, I think I'm sure, and I was kind of looking at the downtime as an opportunity. Having started a business before, I know that it takes a while, to get up and running. And I needed to do the market research and write my business plan and sort of get all my ducks in a row. So yeah, I left her and I started the company about 3 months ago. I mean, we really just launched our website at the beginning of September. I'm a firm believer in sort of visualizing what you want and, being able to make anything happen. And I knew I had done it with Runaway Bride. I left a 6-figure job and a corner office in Manhattan to do it. And I know what I did with it. So I was confident, that I'd be able to do that again with Posh Pets.
I love that story so much. I love it. I love it. Because
it's an interesting background, but yes.
it is. And I want to dive into how your background in things like marketing and public relations has played into how you have set up your business. Cause I think that's a really unique angle and has a lot of strengths that many pet business owners don't have. But I did want to back up and you mentioned some really important cats that you had in your life and the role that they had on your life and kind of how this has all played out. So I'd love for you to tell us about them.
Absolutely. So, right out of college, I was 23 years old and I was living in New Orleans. And I ended up rescuing two black cats. They were about 13 weeks old and they had been abandoned at a Coast Guard base. So, took them in, bottle fed them. They were my babies. Scout and Chase, brother, sister. Chase sadly passed away almost 2 years ago at the tender age of 17 and a half. And Scout is going strong. She's 19 and a half, and I dare say she's living her best life right now. I mean, she's thriving in what I call her golden years. And I really almost want to say she's the inspiration for Posh Pets in a way. I mean, she is spoiled and pampered. I don't have any, human children, so she is my baby. She has her own bedroom in our house, which I know sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. A couple of years ago, we renovated one of our bedrooms and turned it into a guest bedroom, and Scout just kind of claimed it as her own, which I thought was kind of cute. And I mean, this is her bedroom, so it's got, a twin size bed. I have some Sherpa line steps that go up to the bed because she's too old. She can't jump up there anymore. I'm a crazy person and I play Chopin, for her during the day. And I put candles on for her and bring her meals up to her bed. My fiance thinks I'm completely insane, but I really do think that that's what's keeping her going. I mean, she is definitely spoiled and pampered. And, I feel like she's 19 and a half. She deserves it. She's earned it. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. It does sound a little crazy to think that a cat has her own bedroom, but it's like, she's 19 and a half. She can get her own bedroom. Come on.
That's kind of what I'm like, you know what? When I'm her age in human years, I want somebody to take care of me just as much as I'm taking care of her. So yeah, why not?
I want fur-lined steps up into my bed for sure.
So the question I get from my mom and my fiance, are you going to take this good care of us when we're that age? So yeah, they've created a monster, but
it's a good question. So I hear how you're taking care of Scout, and I'm thinking back to your background in luxury care, and even how you describe your company, your pet sitting company as boutique. So what does being a boutique pet care company mean to you?
No, that's a great question. And so to me, when I hear the word boutique, I think small, I think luxury, I sort of think customized and tailored. And that's really what Posh Pets is. So, there are so many wonderful pet care companies out there. And, one of the beautiful things is that everybody, every business owner has the opportunity to kind of find their niche and, kind of come up with their unique characteristics. And in terms of, Posh Pets being boutique, we don't have packages per se. I mean, we really try to customize all of our services to tailor them to what the client is looking for. Some people may have senior pets that need, specific services and whatnot. And other people, I know one of the positives that came out of COVID is the number of people that adopted pets and puppies and whatnot. So, puppies need socialization. So we have special sort of packages for that. So really just tailoring our services to each specific pet and their owner, and kind of going above and beyond, kind of taking a page out of what I learned in the world of hospitality, both through Hyatt and then through Runaway Bride, working with these high-end properties and kind of offering that luxury VIP service that these hotels offer their guests to our pets, to our four-legged customers, if that makes sense.
It does, because luxury can be communicated in a lot of different ways, and so it can be communicated in the kind of services that you provide, and the pricing, and the atmosphere that you have when you're around people. So how do you feel like you bring that luxury element to your clients?
Definitely. So, we don't just do dog walks per se. I mean, basically a dog walk with Posh Pets on a hot summer day, your dog is going to get a chilled water break halfway through the walk. If we're doing a pet sitting and we're checking in on your cat and you have an anxious pet, we're going to play music for that pet. So kind of going above and beyond and offering those, I guess, added touches and special amenities, special thank yous for our clients, gifts on special occasions for the pet, like their birthdays or, their anniversary date. We're also we're in the stages right now of partnering with other local businesses, such as like pet wellness centers and groomers and, doggy bakeries, just again, to kind of offer that additional enhancement or, additional amenity that you may not get from every pet sitting company. Like I said, it's not for everybody. And just like there's a certain wedding planner for a certain bride. So that's sort of the market that we're catering to, a little, just kind of taking it a step further.
Looking around you and going, okay, what value can I bring? Not necessarily as an additional like add-on service, because to me, like the luxury part of that is like, it's all taken care of. Every aspect is under control, and like that this is just what you get. Ours, it's not an add-on, it's just the service that we provide.
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like it's kind of, you get it all. We offer a pet taxi. If we want us to take your pet to the vet, we'll do that, or to the groomer, or we'll bring the pet food to you, or exactly. So it's not an add-on. It's sort of like, this is what you're getting with Runaway Bride. It's the whole sort of the big picture.
Have you heard about Time to Pet? Dan from NYC Pooch has this to say.
Time to Pet has been a total game changer for us. It's helped us streamline many aspects of our operation, from scheduling and communication to billing and customer management. We actually tested other pet sitting softwares in the past, but these other solutions were clunky and riddled with problems. Everything in Time to Pet has been so well thought out. It's intuitive, feature-rich, and it's always improving.
If you are looking for new pet sitting software for your business, give Time to Pet a try. As a listener of Pet Sitter Confessional, you'll get 50% off your first 3 months when you sign up at timetopet.com/confessional. Now, starting up in 2020, many of us who had existing businesses really struggled to pivot and find new ways of marketing. And so as somebody who started up in the middle of that, how did you go about marketing your services, marketing this luxury to people in a time where starting a business like this might maybe off-putting to most people?
No, that's a good question. And, full disclosure, I think that's been one of the most challenging parts of starting up this business. A, in the middle of a pandemic. B, being a brand new business. I mean, my first time sort of owning or running a pet care company. It's very much a word of mouth business, which makes so much sense. Same thing as the wedding world. I mean, people want to leave their fur babies with people that they trust, and they're more apt to, go with someone that their neighbor or their friend recommends, pet sitter that they're working with, versus finding somebody online. And being that we are so new and in the early stages, we haven't really had that opportunity to have, too much word of mouth. We do have a handful of clients, that have been really amazing and left great reviews for us, which has definitely helped. But in addition, we've been doing a lot of grassroots marketing. One of the things that I did right away was join Pet Sitters International. Kind of did my research and realized that there's such a well-respected organization in the pet world, and it's just been invaluable. I've really kind of taken advantage of the tools that they offer. I attended their virtual conference last month. I've connected with a lot of other pet sitters around the country, really, and I'm in chat groups, trying to do a lot on social media. I know that's so huge these days. So, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, really good at blogging, speaking to people such as yourselves, just really kind of trying to get the word out in any which way we can, while we're still building the business and building the brand and kind of getting to that place where we have that word of mouth.
Yeah, taking advantage of all those little opportunities that come up to just to try that. And as you mentioned, with the idea of kind of this long-term view of this is going to pay off eventually. Mm-hmm. We need to continue to do these little things consistently.
Exactly. And, it's been a lot of learning Google and Google Analytics. And, these are all things that kind of make my brain hurt because it's not my level of expertise or what I'm used to. But I also realize, these are things that I need to do and I need to learn. And I think, patience and knowing that in the end, it is all going to, pay off, but I'm kind of doing all that stuff now that I know I need to be doing, whether I, enjoy it or don't. I think it's all really important.
Yeah, you mentioned patience. It's patience that this will pay off, and just being in it for the long haul. It's also giving yourself patience as you mentioned, to sit down and learn Google My Business and what SEO is and how to go about doing that properly for your website and all your properties, that you have on the web, and just knowing that that's going to take a little bit of time, but it is so worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do realize now why there are companies out there that make a living doing this, because it is work. But and I have learned, I've been learning, and, like you said, exercising patience with myself, I think has been key. And just knowing, just like take it one day at a time. And, I know we're kind of getting through the rest of this year and the pandemic and an election and the holidays. And so I'm just trying to kind of keep my vision on to 2021 and, hopeful that things will start moving in a positive direction.
Yeah. I did kind of have maybe an interesting question here. Given your background in luxury wedding plannings, and you mentioned even having to work with Bridezillas, how do dog moms compare to Bridezillas?
That's a great question. And I honestly, to me, and I'm a pet lover, and I think all pet lovers, I don't think you can really have a Bridezilla attitude if you're a pet owner or when it comes to your pet, if that makes any sense. I respect, how people love their animals and treat them as their kids. Heck, as you heard, I do it with Scout in her bedroom and everything else that I do for her. But just, we have catered to that luxury client and to the Bridezillas and to the Groomzilla. So I feel like I've kind of been there and done that. And I would, and this is going to sound terrible, but I would so much rather provide this high level service and like these extra bells and whistles and add-ons to, precious pets who love you unconditionally and animals. And I don't know, I've been very fortunate, through working with Posh Pets and, the previous company that I worked with, never came across a not nice client. Even when COVID hit, people were just so gracious and so kind and, trying to keep their walks going or continuing to pay for walks, even if they were working at home. So again, it's just kind of been night and day in terms of the clientele that I've been dealing with compared to, what I did in my previous life.
Yeah. It's a reminder that people who are after these kind of services, these level of services, are doing it because they genuinely care and want the absolute best for their furry friend that they view as a family member, as a child. Yep. And that's a very different level of interaction than the kind of services you were providing when you were when someone was saying, "Oh, this has to be absolutely perfect. It's the one shot I get at this," and all those kind of feelings and emotions that go into it.
Exactly. It's a far cry, and I totally respect a pet owner saying, Fido needs his food heated up and he needs his medicine. And I get that versus, having a mother of a bride or a bride screaming and yelling at me because it's raining on their wedding day. So I'm like, okay, I just kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah. And that happened more than once.
I'm sure, you don't control the weather. That's shocking.
Well, apparently some people think I do. So yeah, I'm very happy to heat up, Fido's food and put yogurt in it or whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. And yeah, I have no problem with that. It's just two totally different ball games, I guess.
Yeah. and thinking about your background here, especially in sales and hospitality, we've touched on it a little bit, but I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about how that goes into the operations of your business and how you approach your business.
Definitely. Again, and so the tagline for Posh Pets is signature hospitality. So PET for pampered pets. So really, kind of like I touched upon, taking my background, in the hotel world. It's such a hospitality business, you're welcoming guests. Like, what can you do to make their experience more pleasant? Like, what can you do to enhance their stay at your property, turn down service at night, whatever it may be, and then kind of adding to that what I did in the wedding world and, really catering to the clients and what can set you apart. And again, having done the luxury, just kind of applying all of those elements to pet care, from the beginning stages. A client contacts us, having, a phone conversation with them, hearing, what their pets' needs are, understanding who their pets are, going and doing, a meet and greet if it's appropriate, or a virtual meet and greet, in today's day and age, and really just making sure that the client is getting that VIP service and treatment from the beginning, that they know that they're booking a really special company that's going to go above and beyond, that you're going to have one dedicated, we call them Posh professionals, pet sitter for your pet. In other words, we're not kind of the Uber of pet sitting. It's not going to be a revolving door. Who's coming to walk your dog? You're going to know, and you're going to have a relationship with that person. So kind of, setting ourselves apart in that aspect. Like I said, going above and beyond. If it's, your pet's birthday, we're going to send you a really special personalized gift for your pet. Those add-ons, like I said, with the walks in the summer, the chilled water breaks, you're not paying extra for that. That is just a part of the service that we're offering. So I think just going above and beyond and kind of, going that extra step and having those clients know from the first phone conversation they have with us, throughout the terms of their services that they know that the value, that they're getting and something special and kind of different.
Yeah, and I like how you're even bringing in some of the language from the hospitality industry. It's not a late night check; it's a turn down service, right?
Exactly.
It's just, but I think does a couple things. It's an immediate familiarity with people because we've heard of turn down services, and that's always been the really fancy thing that you can get at a really nice hotel. Of course, I want that for my pet. It's
right.
So it kind of brings in this. That's already branded, and you can attach that to your business, and there's this immediate recognition of what kind of service you're going to get.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that's sort of the goal, is just kind of like really transferring the luxury hospitality hotel world into the pet care world. And like I said, with Scout, I joke around. I'm like, she's getting room service tonight. She's getting her dinner brought up to her. So kind of taking it to that crazy level.
Well, it's just that level of expectation. It's not like, on one hand, yes, it is going above and beyond, but for you, it sounds like that's just how I take care of pets. Like, this is just how we operate. This is the bar that we're setting for ourselves, and that people are attracted to that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. And I think, one of the things that I learned when I was still doing all that traveling, and as Chase and Scout got older, I found it more and more difficult to find someone that I felt comfortable leading them with, just because they started having, and, I think I mentioned this earlier, special needs. They got older. They needed medication. They had to have, their medication every day. And, finding pet sitters that were like either not communicating while I'm on the other side of the world that they saw my pet, or saying, hey, I couldn't give Scout her medicine. And I'm like stressing out while I'm trying to plan this wedding. Like, well, she didn't get her medicine. Like, that's not good. So kind of trying to ease other pet parents' minds when it comes to that. And like knowing that it's stressful enough to leave your fur baby. I'm talking about, pet sittings, that you just want to know and have that peace of mind that they are in good hands. And that's one of the things that, like I said, I didn't necessarily find. So I wanted to provide that service to, pet parents, other pet parents.
Yeah, that's a great way of framing it, of the kind of services that we provide as pet sitters. It's, yes, on one hand, the service that we provide is the pet care, the medications, the feeding, but linked inextricably to that is the service that we provide is peace of mind to the owner. And we can never forget that there is that strong connection of, I'm giving service to the pet. The service I give to the owner is peace of mind. Now, I need to make sure that they have the most peace of mind possible through communications and other things that you're doing while they're in your care.
Exactly. And kind of making a list of things like, well, what would I have wanted in a pet sitter, that I wasn't finding? And again, peace of mind, number one. The communication piece is huge. We work with Time to Pet, and just a wonderful software company where our clients do see when we check in for the pet sitting or the dog walk. They get a full detailed report. They get pictures. They kind of get the report card. Your pet was medicated, got the food, and it's all in real time. So I know more and more pet sitters, I think, are using software programs like this. But that to me is just, kind of goes along with it in terms of the communication, helping with that peace of mind.
I think linked to that too, something I really enjoy about your background is that a lot of it is in public relations, is dealing and managing how people view your company and the services that you offer. So what kind of advice would you have, or do you have, for other pet care providers as we think about public relations, which may not be something that most people have thought about as a thing for their business.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I think public relations is all about being your own cheerleader, which I know sounds kind of weird. But when I started Runaway Bride, I had a mentor who sort of took me under his wing. And he's the one who really taught me this. He taught me that PR companies, I mean, if you hire a PR company, they're really just going to brag about you, which is kind of essentially what PR is. It sounds kind of, like I said, a little bit weird, but it's okay to talk about and promote your accomplishments. I'd say, that business owners, pet care owners, if they've won awards, talk about them. If they've been featured in the media, let people know. Again, it's okay to brag about yourself a little bit. And in today's world, social media is huge. I would say use these platforms to communicate with your followers, share links to blog posts that you've written or articles that you've been mentioned in. I think at the end of the day, it's really about, building your brand awareness and kind of staying in front of your followers with things that you've done or accolades or great testimonials that you've gotten, kind of spread the word. I know it's uncomfortable sometimes, I don't really want to talk about myself and toot my own horn, but at the end of the day, I really do think that's sort of what PR is all about, if that makes any sense.
It totally does. And I was going to mention that talking about ourselves is sometimes the last thing in the world we want to do, right? Because it's really uncomfortable. I just want to take care of pets. Please just let me take care of pets. I don't want to say anything about myself. I don't want my face out there. I just want to do that. But you mentioned of like, it's okay to brag about yourself. It's okay. And I think the first step in that, when I hear that, is it's okay to be proud of the work that you do, right? And take pride in the level of care and tell other people about that. That is genuinely okay to do. And as a business owner, you should be proud of the business and you should want other people to know about it.
Absolutely. And I think that, I mean, it is very uncomfortable and it's not something that people are, used to. And, we don't walk around with these huge egos and being proud of the work that you've done. And if you're partnering with an amazing organization, like let people know, just, talk about the positives. And like I said, I think social media is a huge, inexpensive platform and it's kind of easy way to do it. If you're doing it for yourself.
So if someone's sitting here listening to this and they might not know where to start, what kind of advice would you give to them as far as the first step or two to bragging about themselves to more people?
So I would say a really easy way to sort of do it is to have a monthly newsletter that goes out. We use MailChimp, which they're, free memberships or, very inexpensive memberships. And you can maintain your mailing list on there. I would say a monthly newsletter to your clients or to your followers, kind of letting them know what you've been up to is a great way to do it. Again, like I mentioned, social media, putting that on different social media platforms, getting interviewed, kind of the conversation that we're having now and kind of speaking about your brand and what you've been doing, any which way you can to kind of get the word out, I guess, within the pet community.
The idea of that monthly newsletter, like that takes a lot of stress out whenever it's like, okay, this only has to come out once a month. It's not every single day. It's not a daily wrap up. It's just, and you just get to talk about what you've done, what you've been doing, tell a funny story, talk about those kind of things and let your personality come across.
Exactly. And, if you can have a format that you're using monthly, in other words, we'll talk about what were we up to this month, and last month's newsletter included, participating in the Pet Sitters International Virtual Conference, talked about a charity that we're partnering with. And exactly, it's a once a month. I think if you kind of have a boilerplate and you have a format, it kind of gets easier and easier to do. And I think it's less intimidating, than getting out and speaking in public, or I don't know, you're kind of able to do it kind of turnkey every month. And that is probably the number one thing I would start with, or something that can very easily be done, I should say.
Yeah, those having the standard format is huge because, it's like, okay, where do I put the picture? Where do I put this link? Nope. Right. I talk about these same basic things and it's all in this format. It's just kind of fill in the blank and it goes out. And I love hearing that that's such a big, simple, really amazing step that people can take.
Definitely. Yeah. That's absolutely.
As a pet care provider, one of the single hardest things that we'll ever have to deal with is the loss of a client. Pet Perennials makes it easy as 123 to send a heartfelt condolence gift directly to someone with a broken heart. They have this awesome direct-to-client gift service that takes the effort off of us and ensures a thoughtful, personalized sympathy gift reaches their client or employee. All gift packages include a handwritten card, colorful gift wrap, and shipping fees across the U.S. and Canada. They just launched a brand new offering of an array of milestone gifts and greeting cards that can be sent to celebrate special moments people share with their pets. If you're interested, register for a free account and receive discounted package pricing rather than paying consumer prices. Since the service is leveraged on an as-need basis, there are no monthly or annual obligations or minimum purchases. Learn more and register at petperennials.com/pages/GPS. Enter the referral code PSC at registration, and you'll be given a unique coupon code to save $2 off any packages you would send in your first 90 days. You just mentioned there about you're partnering with a really cool charity and a really cool cause. So I'd love for you to tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. So that was something that was very important to me. I joke around with my family and friends and say, when I make my first million, I'm going to buy property with a lot of land and rescue as many animals as I can. But until then, I'm really committed to providing sort of a proceed of our sales to organizations, like that. We currently partner with Lucky Dog DC Animal Rescue, and it is a volunteer-powered nonprofit organization here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. They're dedicated to rescuing homeless, neglected, and abandoned animals from all over the country, in fact, other parts of the world as well. They educate the community on pet parenting, the importance of good nutrition and spaying and neutering. So we're exclusively partnering with them right now. We're offering a lifetime discount, like for the lifetime of the pet, 15% discount, just, as a thank you. I mean, there's so many animals out there that do need forever homes. And, I'm so grateful to the people that are able to adopt them. I feel like the discount is the very least, that we can do. And once times get back to normal, I mean, I know all their events have gone virtual right now, but once they get back to in person, I will be donating my time to helping them plan and execute the events, and volunteering in other, whatever their other platforms they have.
That lifetime discount. So is that given to dogs who are adopted through that, and that if they use your services, they get that kind of discount?
Yeah, so exactly. So Lucky Pets, and that's what the pets are called that are adopted through Lucky Dog. If their owners book services through us, they will get a 15% discount for the lifetime of the pet that they adopted through Lucky Dog.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that idea because you mentioned like it's you're doing it for the pet, you're doing it for the owner, because adopting a pet is a huge thing that more people should do. So it's like it's encouraging that. It's also going, look, I recognize that this is a big thing that you've just done, and I want to allow you I want to make sure that you're able to take care of this pet so it doesn't end up back there, right? And it's allowed to have this kind of service.
Exactly, because I realize it's a commitment and it is an expense, and it's and you just. Speaking to Lucky Dog, the number of pets that have been adopted during COVID, I mean, it's just been amazing and phenomenal. So, I'm just so grateful for that. Like I said, if I were at a place or a point where I had a ton of land and could just bring in as many adopted animals as I could, I certainly would. But I'm not there yet.
Right. Not yet. We're talking about So on that, thinking about the future, where are you going with this business? What kind of plans do you have?
Definitely. So, I'd love to see Posh Pets continue to grow. I think that the business model that we've set up is something that could eventually be franchised. I think that this is something that would work in a San Francisco, Miami, Atlanta, Boston. I mean, I definitely think that this business model can reach a target market. And like I said, franchising it is something sort of a long-term goal. I think taking it even a step further and talking about the hospitality piece again, I've toyed with the idea of maybe at some point down the line opening up a pet hotel, which I know sounds kind of kooky, but in doing some research, there are some out there. I mean, I've read stories of ex-hoteliers, like CEOs of hotel companies who have said, I'm done with the corporate world, huge pet lovers, and they've opened up, hotels. So it's the opportunity for you to, instead of boarding your cat or your dog and putting them in a kennel with, 15 other animals, whatever, it's a hotel for your dog. I mean, it's boarding, but it's kind of on a different level. So we shall see that sort of maybe further down the line, but I think that there could be something to that. So I know it's been done. And like I said, maybe down the line, that's that thing that we might be able to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on doing wedding planning for pets, or maybe being a wedding pet attendant?
It's so funny. So many people, they're like, when I said, I'm leaving the wedding planning industry and I'm starting something new. And it was a little bit of intrigue. They said, are you going to do wedding planning for pets? Like, what are you going to So, yeah, I think there's an opportunity for, to have them be attendants, ring bearers. One of my weddings that I did do, the best man was their dog, and he carried the ring down the aisle, which I thought was super adorable. So you never know. Never say never.
Just curious if there would be an eventual tie-in there. So, okay.
Yeah, you never know.
I guess if you branded it runaway dog, that doesn't quite conjure the same imagery as a luxury service.
Exactly. It's probably something I wouldn't want to hire someone for.
Yeah. Having just started so recently, what kind of resources did you use or are you using? Would you recommend to others?
Definitely. I would say just, the experience that I had firsthand working with this other dog walking company was invaluable. But I think that beyond that, the smartest thing that I did was join Pet Sitters International. And I swear they're not paying me to keep mentioning them, but I just, I knew how important it was to join an organization, and I kind of did my research and my homework, and I just made the decision that, they were the best fit for me. And they've been an amazing resource. I mean, they have so many tools for their members, and I can't even get through all the ebooks and the lessons and the webinars, and that it's just amazing. As I mentioned, I attended their virtual conference last month, and that was it's just such a resource and, wealth of knowledge. I've also been able to connect with so many other pet professionals through them. And the one thing that I've really learned, that was very different from the corporate world or from the wedding world, is how open other pet sitters are to helping new and upcoming businesses. They're willing to share advice and information and, hop on calls. And that's just something that I've never experienced before. And it's just so refreshing. And I think that during this time with COVID having impacted a lot of these pet care businesses so strongly, it's just like this big, huge sense of community. So being a newcomer into the community, I've just felt very warmed and welcomed. I've also relied on, just kind of grassroots marketing. Just here within my neighborhood, we've, all been in quarantine. So we've gotten to know the neighbors and the neighborhood dogs, and kind of just, word of mouth, just like I said, kind of like knocking on doors and handing out flyers and just talking to people, connecting with local businesses, with the different vets in the area, with the groomers, with charities such as Lucky Dog, just trying to network as much as possible, given the weird times that we're all kind of living.
Yeah. And there's always this asterisk right now of given everything going on, this is, this is what's working.
Right. Exactly. So I have no way of knowing if, in normal times, this would be a good idea, but I guess I'm just kind of going with the flow. And, I know so many other people are, so we are all in this together. So in that aspect, it's been kind of, welcoming to come into the pet world, because everyone's kind of trying to navigate this new normal together. So, it's been helpful to connect with other pet professionals out there.
Yeah, it really is essential, especially as in times like this, but even during quote unquote normal times, whatever that is going to look like those connections are going to be so invaluable moving forward. And just it makes everything better, and it makes the workload easier. It makes those learning easier and all sorts of things. So it is one of the key aspects of running a business, especially in this industry, that are just, it's so hard to do if you don't have those connections.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am not afraid, and I don't have an ego to say, I don't know how to do this. Like, can you help me? Or like, what would you suggest? I realize that, I'm learning a lot as I go, and I'm not embarrassed to ask for help. And like I said, I've been very grateful at the support that I have found out there, within the pet sitting community.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear. Kimberly, I have really, really enjoyed our conversation today, and I've loved hearing your transition into the pet care industry and how you are bringing in this boutique luxury aspect to it, and are really making something different and something really cool and fun. If people want to get connected and learn more, pick your brain about PR and branding and luxury aspects of the pet care industry, how best can they do that?
Absolutely. So they can email me at info@Posh Petality. So that's POSHPETALITY.com, or they can check out our website and send me a message there. So that's poshpetality.com. Or, they can call me directly at 703-310-9180. Or reach out to us or follow us, on any of our social media platforms. I would love to speak to any other people who are sort of in the same, stages, or want some sort of pointers, marketing and PR, or anything I can help with. I'd absolutely love to be a resource.
Yeah, and for listeners, I'll have links to those that you mentioned and some of the resources you talked about in the show notes and on our website too, so people can click right through those. Again, this has been a real pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
No, thank you, Colin. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to speaking with anybody who might need some help or advice. So thank you.
My favorite takeaway from this conversation with Kimberly was how she described public relations, that it's all about being our own cheerleader. Now think about that for a minute. Many times we say that we can be our own worst enemies, that we are our own stumbling block. And think about how all of those times where we've been on our own, where we've been trying to go it by ourselves, when not everyone has been on our corner or cheering us on, who else is there left to cheer, to motivate, and to push us forward? Ourselves. That comes from a stance of confidence, not just in our knowledge of pet services, but in our ability as business owners. Confidence in ourselves and how we present ourselves to others, that we will be accepted, that our services will be acknowledged, that they will be looked forward to. All of those are wrapped up into how we perceive ourselves and how likely we are to be cheering ourselves on when no one else is. And this manifests in many different ways, whether that's reaching out to your local newspaper to write a guest article, or a news station to do an expose on what it's like to be a pet sitter, or maybe it's just to go on a radio show or put on a public event or bring a community of people together when that's safe in your area to do those kind of events. But just putting ourselves out there and knowing and trusting the process, knowing that there are people that we are going to connect with, and accepting that there are some people that we're not going to connect with, and that is fine. But that trusting ourselves that we have the knowledge, we have the capability, and we are worth it, and we are enough to get out there in front of people and to start talking about the things that we know and that we're so passionate about. That is what public relations it is. That is putting a face to your business, and that is connecting with your company and with your community. We want to thank our sponsors, Time to Pet and Pet Perennials, for making today's show possible. And thank you. And please know that you are enough. Please know that you are worth it and that you have everything going for you to get out there and to continue to do amazing things in your business and in your community and to make a difference to those around you. We'll be back again soon.